Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in the series, In the Light of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. Today's question comes from Mazhar Ali Shah, who writes from Al-Quwain. Dear Mr. Bilal, could you please enlighten us with regards to this following question? What is the Islamic ruling regarding the celebration of birthdays and anniversaries? Actually, this question has been answered on previous programs, but I will just give a brief answer for you, since you obviously missed those programs in which I dealt with it. And it is that the celebration of birthdays fundamentally are prohibited because they are the practice, among the practices of the pagans. The celebration of birthdays is a pagan practice. Even from a Christian point of view, though Christians in general, Westerners, do make a big thing about celebration of birthdays. Actually, for the first 400 years after the time of Christ, the celebration of birthdays was prohibited by the church. Prohibited because it was known to be pagan. The Romans, the Persians, the Greeks, they celebrated. But Jews, the Hebrew tradition, Mosaic tradition, did not involve birthday celebrations. And if one looks even into the Old Testament and the New Testament, the only references that you can find to birthday celebrations are the celebrations of Pharaoh and Herod, the pagan kings and rulers. On the basis of that, early Christianity prohibited the celebration of birthdays. Included in that, the celebration of the birthday of Jesus. For Muslims, it becomes even more prohibited because this practice is one of pagan origin, and Islam has maintained a strong position against the adoption of any pagan or foreign practices. Where we may accept practices from other societies which have to do with organization, management, technology, these kind of practices are acceptable. But practices which are customs, and especially customs that have in their foundation pagan beliefs, we're not allowed to celebrate them. We're not allowed to adopt them. Just like clothing, for example. As a Muslim, coming from any part of the world, I may wear the clothing of the people among whom I live, as long as the clothing I'm wearing are not known to be of religious significance. For example, the robes of monks, or the dress of the gurus, or whatever, the dress which has been adopted by Christian bishops, etc. These are not permissible for Muslims to wear because they're directly connected to other religions. But the general dress may be worn as long as it doesn't break any of the fundamental principles governing Muslim or governing dress in Islam. So the celebration of birthdays, because of its pagan origin, wherein the pagan religions, pagan peoples, believe that at the date or the day on which one was born, this is a day in which one is particularly vulnerable to the evil forces. So they used to burn candles or burn objects to drive away the evil spirits. And this became incorporated in the birthday cake with the candles. Furthermore, celebration of birthdays was concentrated in some pagan societies in the ruling class, the kings, because the kings themselves had claimed divinity. And of course, the subjects were required to celebrate the birth of God. For Muslims, such practices, as I mentioned, are not permissible. In the case of anniversaries, our wedding anniversary, celebrating this becomes a form of Eid. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he came to Medina and he found people celebrating a number of different annual celebrations, he asked them what they were. One among them was New Year's Day, etc. And they informed him what they were. He told them that Allah has replaced them with two celebrations, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. So for Muslims, these are the two celebrations. The others are not in accordance with Islamic teachings. The second question we have is from Atif Adnan, who's writing in from Sharjah. He asks, is it okay to use perfume which contains alcohol? Perfume which contains alcohol. It's a question, I think, which has also been dealt with in previous segments. The issue being, is alcohol najis, or considered to be filth, which, naturally one would not put on oneself. Some scholars hold that it is najis. And there is a verse in the Quran in which Allah refers to it as rijs, which is filth. However, in the same verse, idols, the places on which animals were slaughtered to idols, gambling, was also referred to as filth. And we know that the instruments of gambling, for example, if one touches it, it does make one, put one in the state of najasa. So what is in reference here, what is the Quran refers to in terms of filth, these things in terms of filth, is one which is spiritual, intellectual, or social. They are filthy in the sense that they are corrupt. So alcohol is prohibited specifically from drinking.